How are you families? How are you guests? Today, in this video, we are going to deal about the modern world since 1500. In this video, there are 20 basic questions that help us students to prepare themselves for entrance exam as well as remedial exam. So, don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment this video. Choose the correct answer from the given alternatives. Question number 1. Why did the Renaissance first begin in Italy before spreading to the rest of European countries? Sababni Renaissansiin biyyoota Awurooppaatti otoo hin manca'in dursee Itaalii keessatti jalqabee fi maali? ወደ ሌሎች የአውሮፓ ሀገራት ሳይሰራጭ ሬኔሳንስ በኢታሊ ውስጥ ለመጀመሪያ ጊዜ የጀመረው ለምንድን ነው? ኤ Italy had a strong feudal monarchy system. B. Italy was predominantly a rural society. C. Italy was an urban society and recovered early from the disasters of the 14th century. D. Italy was isolated from ancient Roman cultures. Question number 2. Which of the following explorers is correctly matched with their major achievements? A. Vasco da Gama discovered America in 1492. B. Circumnavigated the world. C. Ferdinand Magellan led the first circumnavigation of the world. D. Prince Henry the Navigator discovered a sea route to India. Renaissance began in Italy because Italy was an urban society and recovered early from the disasters of the 14th century. This means the urban character, early recovery from disasters, and its connections to Greco-Roman heritage causes for the beginning of Renaissance in Italy. A is not the correct because Italy was not strongly dominated by feudal monarchy systems. B is also incorrect because Italy was a cities, which is predominantly flourishing towns and the cities like that of Florida. And also D is not the correct because Italy was not isolated from the Roman cultures. As a result, the correct answer is C. Ferdinand Magellan led the first circumnavigation of the world is the correct matched with the exploration of explorers. A is incorrect because Vasco da Gama discovered the sea route to the India, not to the America. Again, B is not correct because Columbus discovered the Americas in 1492, not circumnavigated the globe. And also, D is incorrect. Why? The Prince Henry sponsored voyages but did not discover a sea route to the Indian himself. As a result, again, C is the correct answer for question number 2. Question number 3. The immediate cause for the French Revolution in 1789 was A. The Industrial Revolution. B. France's participation in the American War of Independence. C. The Renaissance movement. D. The Reign of Terror. Question number 4. Which of the following was a major negative consequence of the Industrial Revolution? A. Growth of democratic ideals. B. Improvement of living standards for all. C. Environmental degradation and poor working conditions. D. Abolition of serfdoms across Europe. The France's involvement in American War of Independence becomes the immediate cause for French Revolution. Industrial Revolution has lots of effects, so it was not the major cause for France's revolution in 1789. So the correct answer for question number 3 is B. The France's involvement in American War of Independence becomes the immediate cause for the French Revolution in 1789. The major consequence of Industrial Revolution was the environmental degradation and poor working conditions, environmental pollution, and the others. So, C is the major negative consequence of the Industrial Revolution. Question number 5. Which event marked the final trigger for the outbreak of the English Civil War in 1642? A. The signing of the Magna Carta. B. The king's attempt to arrest 5 parliamentary leaders. C. The creation of the Long Parliament. D. The Putney debates. Question number 6. Who led the new model army during the first English Civil War? A. Thomas More and Dante Alighieri. B. Oliver Cromwell and Thomas Fairfax. C. Charles I and Charles II. D. William and Mary. Question number 7. The restoration of 1660 in England refers to A. The execution of Charles. B. The return of Charles II to the throne. C. The establishment of the Bill of Rights. D. The start of the Renaissance. The king's attempt to arrest 5 parliamentary leaders becomes the final trigger for the outbreak of English Civil War in 1642. Warraaqsa England bara 1642 fi akka sababaatti kan ta'u Charles miseensota parliamentary 5 weeraruu danda'u isaati. Which means King Charles I's failed attempt to arrest 5 parliamentary leaders directly led to the outbreak of the Civil War. But Magna Carta was signed in 1215, 1 century before. Creation of the Long Parliament was happened earlier and did not immediately start the war. And the Putney debate was later during the debates within the army. So, B is the correct answer for question number 5. Cromwell and Thomas Fairfax led the new model army during the first English Civil War. Thomas More and Dante were the Renaissance writers, not military commanders. Again, C is not the answer because Charles I and Charles II were monarchs on the royalist side, while William and Mary ruled later after the Glorious Revolution. As a result, B is the correct answer for question number 6. The Restoration returned Charles II to the throne, but A is not the answer because the execution of Charles I was earlier in 1649, and also the establishment of the Bill of Rights happened during 1689. The start of the Renaissance took place centuries before. As a result, A, C, and D are not the correct answer, but B is the correct answer for question number 7. Question number 8. Which document enacted in 1689 formally assured English people certain civil rights and limited royal powers? A. The Petition of Rights. B. The Magna Carta. C. The Bill of Rights. D. The Declaration of Independence. Petition of Rights and the Magna Carta are older documents which are defending rights against absolute power, whereas the Declaration of Independence is an American document from 1776, noted in England. A, B, and D are not the correct answer. The Bill of Rights was a historic document that limited the power of monarchies, protected certain rights and also freedom of citizens, and as well as parliaments. It was amended in 1689 following the Glorious Revolution of 1688 when the James II overthrown and the William III took the throne. Bill Rights kan jedhamu mirga cunqurfamtoota kabachiisuudhaa fi aangoo warra monarkii warra abbaa irree daangessuudhaaf warraaqsa Glorious jedhamu bara 1688 bulee bara 1689tti dookumentii barreeffamedha jechuudha. Yeroo James Secondiin aangoo irraa fonqolfame William Sardin immoo gara aangootti dhufe keessa mirga cunqurfamtoota kabachiisuudhaaf barraa'e. Bill of Rights የሚባለው historical document ሆኖ አምባገነኖችን ስርዓት ማዳከምና የፓርላመንቶችን መብት እንዲሁም የማህበረሰቡን መብት ለማስጠበቅ የወጣ ነው። C is the correct answer. Question number 9. Which social class in pre-revolutionary France before the heaviest tax burden relative to income? A. The first state, which are clergies. B. The second state, which are nobilities. C. The third state, which are peasants, bourgeois, and workers. D. The fourth state, or the royal family. Question number 10. What event is considered the symbolic beginning of the French Revolution and is celebrated annually in France? A. The fall of the Bastille. B. The American War of Independence. C. The signing of the Magna Carta. D. The restoration of Charles II. Question number 11. Who was the most prominent Jacobin leader during the French Revolution's reign of terror? A. George Washington. B. Oliver Cromwell. C. Maximilien Robespierre. D. Napoleon Bonaparte. Third state kan jedhaman qonnaan bultoota, dafqaan bultootaa fi hojjettootadha. Isaan kun gibira humnaa oliitu itti fe'ame dirqiidhaan akka isaan gibira kaffalan taasisaa turan. Fakkeenyaaf gibira lafaa, teelee kan jedhamu, gibira soogiddaa, salt, tax, gaabillee, gibira kurnee kaffaluu amantaadhaan, tithes to the church, gibira humnaa olii akka kaffalan ta'aa ture jechuudha. The first state and the second state paid a little taxes. The third state, peasants, bourgeois, and the workers are the social classes in pre-revolutionary France bore the heaviest tax burden relative to the income. C is the correct answer. Question number 10. Weerarrii fi diigamuun mana hidhaa Bastille adoolessa 14,1789 ta'e ka'umsa fincila Faransaay ta'uun mallattoo kufaatii mootii gara jabeessaa ሎይስ 60 ta'eera jechuudha. በሐምሌ 14 1789 የተደረገው ህዝባዊ አመጽና የባስትል እስር ቤት መቃጠል ለጨቋኙ ንጉስ ለሉዊስ 16 ውድቀት ምልክት ሆኗል። The fall of the Bastille was the event that considered the symbolic beginning of the French Revolution and is celebrated annually in France July 14. A is the correct answer. Yeroo shororkaa warraaqsa France hoogganaan paartii Yaaqoob lammiilee hedduu kan ajjeesisee fi kan ajjeese waan ta'eef Robespierre led the Jacobins and directed the reign of terror. George Washington was an American leader while Oliver Cromwell led England's republic earlier, as well as Napoleon Bonaparte rose after the revolution. Reasonably, C is the correct answer for question number 11. Question number 12. Which constitution adopted after the fall of the Jacobins restricted political rights more than any previous French constitution? A. The Constitution of 1791. B. The Constitution of 1793. C. The Constitution of 1795. D. The Bill of Rights. Question number 13. What was the immediate cause that led American colonists to convene the First Continental Congress in 18 in 1774? A. The Declaration of Independence. B. The imposition of heavy British taxes. C. The French Revolution. D. The Boston Treaty Party. The Constitution of 1795, adopted after the fall of the Jacobins, that used to restrict political rights more than any previous French constitution. A is not the answer, because the Constitution of 1791 granted rights only to active citizens, while the Constitution of 1793 was more democratic but is suspended during the war. The Bill of Rights is a British document, not American. As a result, C is the correct answer for question number 12. The imposition of heavy British taxes jechuun Stamp Act bara 1765tti mootummaan Biriteen barjaalee fi waraqaawwan maxxansaa adda addaa kanneen akka waraqaa eenyummaa gaazexaa irratti gibira guddaa fe'uun 1773 T Act gibira shayii lammiileen irratti walii hin galle kanfalchiisuudha. Kun ammoo warraaqsa Ameerikaa mootoo guddaan no taxation without representation jedhamu akka bahuu fi Ameerikaan gara warraaqsaatti akka isheen seentu kan taasise. So the major and the immediate cause for American Revolution was the Tea Act of 1773 and the Stamp Act of 1765. As a result, B is the correct answer for question number 13. A is not the answer because Declaration of the Independence was drafted after in 1776. The French Revolution is unrelated, happening in France, while the Boston Tea Party was a protest act, but not the main reason for the Congress of America. Question number 14. Who drafted the American Declaration of Independence in 1776? A. Abolition of slavery in USA. B. Immediate end of monarchy in Europe. C. Inspiration for revolutions in France and Latin America. D. Establishment of feudal dues in America. Thomas Jefferson authored the American Declaration of Independence in 1776. George Washington leads the army, not drafted the document, and also C and D, which means Oliver and Robespierre were European leaders unrelated to the issue. Reasonably, B is the correct answer for question number 14. An inspiration for revolution in France and Latin America was a significant consequence of the American War of Independence. This means the success of American independence encouraged revolutions in France during 1789 and also Latin America. Slavery persisted long after the independence, so A is not the answer. Immediate end of monarchy in Europe did not happen immediately. Monarchies are survived. C is not the answer. Again, D is also not, as America rejected feudal systems. Consequently, C is the correct answer for question number 15. Question number 16. Who became the first president of United States after the American War of Independence? A. Benjamin Franklin. B. George Washington. C. John Adams. D. Thomas More. Question number 17. Why did the Industrial Revolution begin first in Britain? A. Britain was a feudal society with abundant slave labor. B. Britain had a strong connection to ancient Roman civilization. C. Britain possessed plenty of coal and iron, essential for machines and factories. D. Britain was isolated from world trade. George Washington was the first president of the United States after the American War of Independence. But he was led the army and elected first president in 1789. Thomas More was a Renaissance figure. So A, C, D are not the answer. B is the correct answer. The Industrial Revolution began first in Britain because Britain possessed plenty of coal and iron, which are essential for factories. Britain was capitalist, not feudal society. So A is not the answer. While B is related to the Renaissance, not to the industrialization. And also, Britain was not isolated from world trade because she leads the world trade routes. As a result, C is the correct answer for question number 17. Question number 18. What major technological invention was vital in expanding railways and industry during the Industrial Revolution? A. The printing press. B. The steam engine. B. The steam engine. C. The spinning wheel. D. The telegraph. Question number 19. Which two new social classes clearly emerged during the Industrial Revolution? A. Clergy and nobility. B. Bourgeoisie and proletariats. C. First estate and third estate. D. Cavaliers and roundheads. Question number 20. Which of the following was not a negative consequence of the Industrial Revolution? A. Environmental pollution. B. Child labor. C. Abolition of inherited privileges. D. Poor working conditions. The steam engine invention was vital in expanding railways and industry during the Industrial Revolution by powered locomotive, engines, industries, and machineries. Printing press belongs to the Renaissance era. The spinning wheel was an early textile wheel, and the telegraph facilitates communication, not industries. As a result, the correct answer is B. The Industrial Age divides societies into the wealthy capitalists, which are known as bourgeoisie, and the wage earning, which are workers or proletariats. The negative consequences of the Industrial Revolutions are 1. Environmental pollution. 2. Child labor. 3. Poor working conditions. But abolition of the inherited privilege is not the correct answer. C.
Chaanalii keessan Ji'oolessan 17 Tiyuubii waan daawwattaniif galatooma. Ji'oolessan 17 Tiyuub chaanaalachuun sila gobanyaachuu አመሰግናለሁ። Ji'oolessan 17 Tiyuub chaanaalii milkoomina egeree dhalootaaf dhimmu.